Welcome into week 8 of the Ragsdale Rumble. I am your host, Big Mike. And ladies and gentlemen, it's a whole new day. We
Uh-oh.
are now tied up. Both Herb and Raj are at 42 and 34 after last week. Raj jumped out to a big 4-game lead. Herb has scratched and clawed and chipped away at the lead. They are now even. It's a whole new ball game for the next half of the season. It's like coming into halftime or coming out of halftime. I'm sorry, all tied up and ready to go. So I guess the best question to ask, as always, is how are you doing today, Raj?
I'm doing somewhat fantastically splendid on this
Oh,
Monday
oh,
evening. Now I know that the record is tied. I'm not doing as fantastically splendid as I'm usually doing. So I feel a little disappointed in myself, and I kind of let myself down, letting her
you should be.
getting back into it. So I'm not. It doesn't sit well with me. But Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Both teams won this. Both of my teams won, as are the same as your teams.
Mhm.
Basketball preseason is up and going, so we got a lot going on sports wise. I'm having a good time, enjoying it. Herb, how are you? Best uncle ever?
Now that I'm about to reclaim my rightful place as leader
Here we
here,
go.
I'm good. So yeah, let's
Yeah,
roll
I
with
see
it.
you quickly got rid of the second place shirt. That
Yes.
went away pretty quickly.
Yes, I use it
All
to
right,
clean the
so-
car now.
So, do we need to take a break? Any halftime speeches need to come on because we are halfway through the season now? I mean,
Nope.
Everybody
Let's
ready to
go.
go?
We ready to roll.
I'm eager.
all right. And it's going to be kind of weird because Raj, since you did lose last week and it is all tied, you'll actually pick first.
I didn't hear you,
Which,
Mike. I'm sorry, Mike. Could you?
You
I was
know,
doing
you heard
something.
him. You heard him. Hush.
Oh, okay. I just.
For the first time, and I don't remember how long, maybe ever, Raj gets to pick first. So we will start at the early games, 11 o'clock. Mississippi State travels to Arkansas, 3-3. Mississippi State against 2-5 Arkansas. Although Arkansas at home is favored by 7 points, which again sounds kind of weird to start out with Raj. But who do you have and why?
This is weird because both teams have been having a down year. Arkansas first-year coach. Mississippi State first-year coach. Set Pittman, and on the other side, Pittman's Arkansas team is 2-5.
Year, I think.
Yeah, I didn't think Arkansas would be 2-5 at this point. They actually played us pretty well last week in Tuscaloosa, although we played pretty horribly in the second half. I guess since Arkansas is at home, I'm going to take Arkansas at home. And just since I'm picking them, I'm hoping that they play well enough to beat Mississippi State. But again, I can see it going both ways. But I'll pick Arkansas.
Yeah, and you'll notice a theme with this week's games, and really with a lot of games that we talk about. A lot of home team favors. But with that, Raj picking Arkansas, we will jump over to Herb to see what we've got there on the other side. Who do you have and why?
Yeah, this is purely Arkansas at home. Still think they're the better team. I think the defense probably doesn't get enough credit for how well they've played through the year. And KJ Jefferson can just put it together just a little bit. Arkansas wins this one, but I'm taking Arkansas. I wouldn't touch the -7 though, because you just have no idea what's coming up with Arkansas. But I would take Arkansas at home.
All right, there we go. Our first agreement of the night. So we won't have any change there. Stay in that 11 o'clock window. And I'm trying to break it down now since we had the discussions about how I pick games, about, kind of doing it time-wise. So we're going to stick with the early window and kind of progress throughout the day. So Penn State and Ohio State, 11 a.m., undefeated matchup. Probably the big game of the week, or not really probably. It is the big game of the weekend. Game is at Ohio State, and they are favored by 4.5. Herb, you're up first. Who do you have and why?
Lower scoring game than I guess you would think. Ohio State's offense just really hasn't, impressed, I guess, this year, but their defense has been on point. And I'll be honest, if I knew nothing about any of these, what I would always think is most times Ohio State's going to beat Penn State. I think they got their eye on the prize as far as Michigan goes. I don't think – if this was at Penn State, I might give them more of a puncher's chance, but I think Ohio State takes this game. But that's purely because maybe the offense gets on track, but even if it doesn't, defense has been playing very well this year, and I got to give it to them at home.
All right, Herb goes with Ohio State. Raj, do you agree? Disagree? Who do you have and why?
Unfortunately, I agree. I'm going to go with Ohio State at home. One little side note, I'm not sure if you noticed, but Penn State's quarterback Aller, I'm not sure if he's played in every game or started every game, but he has 12 touchdowns, no interceptions yet. Has not thrown an interception this year. A little over like maybe 1,200 passing yards. I'm sorry.
So you're gonna predict a pick six this weekend?
I'm not predicting a pick six, but I predict he does throw his first interception this Saturday, and I'm going to go with Ohio State in the win.
Agree.
All right. Both go with Ohio State. Just for giggles, I would actually have picked Penn State. Penn State, I think, has the better defense, and Ohio State struggling on offense. Not that my pick matters because I'm just the host, but I would have gone with Penn State in this situation. But we'll see what happens on Saturday. Next up, heading into the 2:30 window, the team that's been overlooked, Iowa Hawkeyes. You've got Minnesota coming to town. Minnesota at 3-3. Iowa at a sneaky 6-1. I realize their offense is horrible, but their defense has been stepping up and winning them some big games. Iowa is currently favored by 4 points. Rod, you're up first on this one. Who do you have on?
This is
I'm going to take Iowa in this one. I don't think Minnesota's done too much to prove for me that they're a good team this year. I was looking at Iowa's games. I mean, their one loss was when they got hammered by a much better Penn State team. They lost 31-0. But I don't think Minnesota's that great. They're 3-3. I think Iowa approves to 7-1 after this game, and they get the win at home.
Yeah.
All right, Rod.
Herb.
Oh, Herb. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if you were.
Well,
You know, I know you favor
just-
Raj a lot, so I didn't know if you were trying to give him another chance at it.
No, I'm new here. I'll learn your names one day.
This is I mean, you look at the total of this game, 32.5. They're basically saying, don't watch. But like what Raj said, Iowa with that great defense, I don't think they're good enough to beat any of the, like the Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. But that's probably what's going to happen is they're going to play them in the Big Ten championship game because they're in the driver's seat on that side. So I'm going with Iowa in this game, but this man is not going to make his claws for
could be
for
interesting.
points.
Yeah, and I just the only reason I really picked that one was just because it was only a 4-point spread. I mean, being that close, even though the records are so different. I mean, I get it. It's because of Iowa's offense.
It's a good game to pick. I just don't think it'll be a good game to watch. But it's like a very important game. Iowa needs to stay on track to win the Big Ten. So, yeah.
And how disrespected do you think Iowa feels being 6-1 and still, as of when I looked at this yesterday, was still not ranked in the top 25?
I mean, I think it's because we know they're just not a good team. And it's like they've got this far without. I mean, look at their one ranked game that they had to play. I guess
right, and they got murdered by Penn State. So it's like,
it's probably best for them to stay under the radar. To be honest.
Yeah,
definitely. Moving on now, we will head to Oklahoma State coming in at 4-2 against another 4-2 team, West Virginia. Traveling to West Virginia, again, another home team favored West Virginia by only 3.5. Herb, you're up first. Who do you have on?
West Virginia coming off that heartbreaker at Houston. Oklahoma State, I think we left for dead, and then they just trounced Kansas last week. I don't think much of – you know what? I'm going with Oklahoma State on the road to upset West Virginia in this one. I think they've got a little bit of momentum riding on it. I think being under the radar is really good for them. I'm going with Okie State.
There we go. Herb picks Okie State. And I think I heard a yes under the breath on the other side there, Raj.
It was more of a darn because I picked Oklahoma State. Well, I was hoping to use that as my anti-Herb pick, but I'm going to go with Oklahoma State as well. I think I don't know.
Got a lot of confidence in this pick.
I know I have a lot of confidence in this one, but I'm just going to go with Oklahoma State to win this game.
Well, I mean, at 3.5, nobody has a lot of confidence in this game, one way or the other. It's not like it's a huge spread. We will stay in the 2:30 window, but head over to the SEC. Kind of a disparaging record. You have South Carolina at 2-4, traveling to Missouri at 2:30 at 6-1 Missouri. But oddly enough, Missouri is only favored by 7.5 at home. Roger, up first. Who do you have?
I'm going to go with Missouri at home. Had this been like the first or second game of the season, I probably would have picked South Carolina because I thought Spencer Rattler was going to have a really, really good season this year. But it hasn't turned out that way. Missouri's actually obviously playing a great season. I think who was their only loss to? Georgia? Did they play Georgia already?
They haven't played Georgia. They lost.
No,
to
they
LSU.
lost to LSU.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I forgot about that one. That was the game Missouri should have won that one as well. They should be undefeated. Anyway, with that said, I think Missouri's playing better football this year, so I'm going to go ahead and take Missouri in this game.
Yeah. I've already used South Carolina for some upset picks.
Yeah.
Lost with them last week on Florida. That was disappointing. I think they're done for the year. I don't see any big upsets left in them. Missouri at home still has a lot to play for. You know, that LSU loss is deflating, but they still have a puncher's chance, you know, at winning their division. So their goals are still ahead of them. So I'm giving this one to Missouri at home.
Yep.
All it takes is that one Saturday. They're 6-1. They beat Georgia. They'd hold the tiebreaker and head to Atlanta.
Oh, wow. No Brock Bowers.
That's true. I heard he's having surgery. He's going to be out, 4 to 6?
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. That's a big loss for them. I mean, that's really their main offense.
Yeah.
For most of the season. Moving to the 6 o'clock window. It's the only game at 6 o'clock, if I remember right. Most of the rest of them being a little later. TCU at 4-3 travels to K-State at 4-2. K-State is currently favored by 6.5 points. Herb, you're up first. Who do you think?
Man, this is one of those, like, I mean, the revenge from last year, but does that matter with the way TCU has been playing? K-State only lost to Oklahoma State, Missouri. I gotta go with the home team on this one. TCU leaky defense. I think K-State will score plenty in this game. I think they take it.
Leaky defense.
Leaky defense.
Is that a technical term? Leaky defense.
Yes.
Leaky defense. I like that one.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, I like that one.
It has a lot of holes, Mike.
I'm not mad at it. That's just I haven't heard that one before.
I never heard that one either, but hey.
You guys have never heard leaky defense?
I haven't.
I've never heard somebody call it leaky defense.
I got to start watching more shows.
Apparently so.
Or more
I've heard putrid, though.
That we have heard a lot of putrid.
Yes, on this show.
I may not have heard it anywhere else, but we've heard it here. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your pick. You are going with K-State, correct?
Yup.
All right, there we go. Raj, do you agree, disagree? What do you think?
I agree. I got to go with K-State in this one. I kind of feel like we haven't really heard much from TCU ever since that first loss to Colorado to start the season. They just kind of – obviously they lost a few games, but as far as national media, you just haven't really heard much from them. I know Trey Sanders is over there. I'm not even sure what type of year he's having over there.
Forgot about old Trey.
Yeah, I think he's got a couple of touchdowns. As far as yards, I got to look up his stats for his yards, but I'm going to go with K-State to win this specific game here.
I forget about Trey a lot of times until, oddly enough, he shows up on my TikTok because apparently he has an NIL with Hey Dude.
The shoes? Oh, I didn't know that.
Like every fourth video is like a Hey Dude video now.
Okay.
That means nothing to the game, but I thought it was interesting. So
I didn't know.
Moving on to 6:30, an ACC clash. Duke at 5-1 coming into Tallahassee to battle 6-0 Florida State. Again, Florida State's at home, and this one's a little bit bigger of a line, but it could have had to go with it with the records. FSU is currently favored by 14.5. And Roger up first.
I think FSU is going to cover in this game. They got one of the best quarterbacks in the country in Jordan Travis. There's a chance that Florida State might make it to the playoff if they go ahead and win out undefeated ACC champion. I think they're the best. They're better than Clemson. I think we can all agree on that. I think Florida State's the best team in the ACC. I think they win this game. It shouldn't be too difficult. Duke's got the good record. I see that, but I don't think they're anywhere close to Florida State. I got Florida State.
Yeah, I think the difference in talent is just way too great in this. I think Duke's defense will keep it in a minute for a while, but I think Duke would have to have a 100% healthy quarterback to even have a chance here, and I don't think they have that. But even with that, I'd pick Florida State. But without that, I'm definitely picking Florida State.
All right, it's a lot of similarities here this week. I don't think we've had a disagreement yet, but we will move on to a 7:30 kickoff. Utah 5-1 travels into USC, who had a devastating loss. Just got embarrassed kind of by Notre Dame last week. Moves in. Utah probably one of the better defenses in the Pac-12, but USC is still favored by 7 points. Herb, you're up first. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, I know the history with them. I guess I would usually want to take a Utah on this, but without, was it Cam Rising? I just don't think their offense.
Is he coming back at all this year?
I mean, you're gonna get to a point where does it make sense to even bring him back?
Right.
If you don't have a shot at the Pac-12 title, and it looks like, would they be at best the third best team?
Yeah,
but probably even fourth because of their losses already. At very, very best, so I wouldn't bring him back.
Yeah.
their defense will keep them in this game, but USC will make just enough plays to win. So plus they're probably looking to bounce back from last week's horrific, putrid showing. I'm going with USC.
There we go. Roger,
USC needs to fix their leaky defense.
That's true.
I don't know that I would call their defense leaky. It's so much just overflowing.
It's putrid. They have a putrid defense. And we saw it last week when they played Notre Dame. They finally played a really, really good team that has a really, really good defense. We all know USC can put up points, but it's hard for them to defend. Even though, with that being said, I think they're going to do just enough to kind of beat Utah in this game. Maybe put up around a little over 40 points to Utah's 21. So I'm looking at like a 45-21 type of score.
I'm looking at like a 28-21.
Yeah.
Now, Utah scoring 21 would be like a small miracle too. As well.
Yeah.
I don't know, as bad as that USC defense, even with a backup quarterback, they've put up a few points this season. I mean, they may be able to pull it out. Oddly enough, we're moving on to our final game of the week with no disagreement so far. 4-2 Clemson travels into also 4-2 Miami off of a couple of blunders. And this is the only road favored team. Clemson is currently favored by 3.5 points. Rod, you're up first on this one. Who do you have and why?
This is a tough one. Even though after 2 weeks ago when Miami made that blunder of a call, that putrid call, I didn't know what to expect. And they obviously they lost this past Saturday to North Carolina, I believe. Wow, this is a tough one. The game is in Miami. Correct? And what's the line? What's the line again? What's the line?
Clemson by 3.5. The only road favorite that we have on our list.
I'm going to go with Clemson to cover in this game. I'm going to go with Clemson. And I am saying that without any type of conviction at all. I could see Miami winning this game, especially with them being at home. But I think Clubber Lang and Clemson are going to do what it takes to get it done.
Here we go.
Herb, here we go. Is this it?
Uh-oh. I see the dance.
It's coming.
Best Uncle Ever dance.
I got to go with Miami home. I think I made up my mind once you started talking. I was like, whoever he picks, I'm taking the opposite. Like, I don't even care. Like, this game it's like Raj said, it's tougher than it should be. Beginning of the year, I think we would have picked Clemson easily. Yeah. Miami's not giving me any faith by the way they've dropped the last 2 games. One with stupid coaching and one with just no defense. But I just don't know that Clemson can take advantage of that. For Miami, this is a bounce back. It's probably been circled on the calendar, for most of the year. So I'm going to take this as like a Texas A&M plays bad all year, but then Bama comes to town and they play their Super Bowl type of game, and I'm going to take Miami at home. And sometime around, 8:30, 9 o'clock, I might be like, this is what my week came down to. But pushing my chips in, I'm going with Miami at home. Please don't let me down.
Gotcha.
There we go. The only disagreement of the week. Clemson favored by 3.5 over Miami. Herb has got Miami. Raj has got Clemson. It's all going to come down to prime time Saturday night. Mm-hmm. Who takes the lead in the Ragsdale Rumble? Who goes into second place or last place?
I put my faith in the weirdest teams.
Hey, if Nebraska can get you out of the hole, I guess can. Just hope to God it doesn't come down to Cristobal making a last second whether he should down the ball or not. We will go over one of the game real quick. I know it's been kind of a quick week. Obviously, we're all Alabama fans. We're not going to pick a winner, but it is Tennessee. So I do want to ask you, what do you think Alabama will win by? Because obviously, we're all going to pick Alabama to win. Raj, how many points do you think Alabama wins by this week?
I don't know. After watching us play against Arkansas, it's just kind of like I really picked us to cover over Arkansas. I think it was 19.5, and obviously that did not happen. We played an excellent first half. We were winning 21-6 at halftime, and then obviously the second half we just decided to stop playing football. We cannot afford that this week. We can't afford to get behind against Tennessee because Joe Milton does have a good arm. Not saying they're the best offense in the country, but he has a pretty good arm, and I think they could put up some points. And we can't afford to be down 14-0, 21-7, anything like that. I'm gonna pick Bama by 6 this game. I don't think. What's the line? Bama by 9.5.
I was afraid to look.
Yeah.
I think it's
9.
About
9 is, I think, where it open.
So I don't think they're covered 9, but I think Bama wins by 2 field goals. Bama wins by 6.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's going to be a tight one. I would go with like the 3 to 6 range for a Bama win, and one of those hold on to your butt at the end of the game sort of games. And just like Rod said, you can't expect them to put together a complete game anymore.
Right.
Tennessee's offense is not as scary as last year. So, ask me my score prediction for LSU. That's going to be a scary one. But
yes.
especially after watching Texas A&M at home, Tennessee at home against Texas A&M, that gave me a little bit more of, okay, they're not as explosive. Milton is not the same quarterback as Hooker last year.
Right.
So I feel like we can hold them down a little bit better, but this is not – I will probably not be comfortable for this whole game.
I won't either.
No, not at all. I don't expect to sit comfortably and lay back in my seat at all for this game. So be glad you did disagree on that last one, because I was going to do this as a tie break if you had not picked last on the different game, and we were going to do pick the point spread for the Alabama game as the tiebreaker, just so we had some movement. So be glad you actually picked that last one, because I don't think any of us feel comfortable about the number of points Alabama will win by. But hopefully everybody has a great week, enjoys a great week of college football starting tomorrow night. We still have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night games. None of them are really close enough to pick, but they're all fun to watch just because it's college football. So make sure you tune in with us and the Herb and Raj podcast. I am Big Mike. Have a great weekend and roll tide.
Roll tide, everybody. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it.